What's good, YouTube family? It's your boy A-Dubs Picks, and tonight I'm checking back in with another YouTube video. And in today's video, we're going to be going over none other but the first round and the play-in tournament as well of the NBA playoffs. The bracket is set. Yesterday, Sunday, was the final day of the NBA playoffs, meaning we got our seeding, and the way things shook out are pretty sweet, man. It's going to be a crazy playoff atmosphere, and it's going to shape up. We have tons of amazing first round matchups, and after that, it only gets better. The teams that survive are obviously going to be better than the team that they just played, and we're going to just slowly start knocking people out. In today's video, I really just wanted to primarily break down the play-in tournament and then obviously the first round. I didn't want to do like a full bracket prediction. I guess I could do that. We'll just see how it goes, right? But first, let me go ahead and share my screen so you guys can see the bracket, alongside of me as we go here. Let's see what we got. Here it is. So as you guys can see, we got the bracket here. 1 seed, we knew where that was going to go. We knew who the 2 seeds were going to be. And the East was pretty well thought out as well up until 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All turned out to be the 10 teams we thought, just with a little bit of different seeding. Out west, we knew who was going to be in the play-in. We didn't know how these seeds were going to shake up. The 3, 4, 5 seed, we didn't know how they would land. But man, we got some crazy first-round matchups. So let's just start with the play-in. We'll start out west with the play-in tournament and who I think will win. So we'll start with this 7-8 matchup because the winner automatically gets that 7 seed. And quite honestly with you, man, I think the 7-8 matchup is an easy one to predict. Although the records are pretty close, I think the Suns are healthy right now. They're rolling, and they would be my team that I'd take to get that 7 seed in that play-in game. It's going to be a pretty close one, as you guys know. These two teams have played a couple times throughout the season, but it was early. These February matchups, Suns were going through some injuries around this time, lost by like 25, but the Suns got them the 2 previous times, and then the Blazers got them 2 times before that. So Blazers take the series on the year with some close matchups and then some not close matchups in there as well. So that's something to think about for that one there. But I do think the Suns are the better team all season, and they're the better team right now coming into this game. Take me to go ahead and, I'm going to take the Suns to get that 7 seed. Have to play against San Antonio, so that's one to keep an eye out for. So that would take the Trailblazers to this other game. If they lose, they got to play again. They're not automatically out. However, in the 9-10 matchup, lose and you go home, and the Warriors just don't got it, man. The Warriors are that 10 seed. They're the 10 seed by about 5 games or so. The Clippers started off terrible. They had a goal to finish 41-41, and they went ahead and beat that. Ty Lue rallied the troops, traded one of their second best player, got Darius Garland, got Benedict Mathurin, brought these guys in, and turned the season around, quite frankly. The Clippers are hot right now, and they're a team to watch out for moving forward. I do think that they go ahead and beat the Warriors pretty convincingly here. When we look at the previous head-to-head matchups, the Clippers have taken, I believe, all of them except the one. They lost this one game here, but if I'm not mistaken, they were pretty healthy in this one. I thought they might have been hurt. Early in the season, though, nonetheless, and the Clippers have the Warriors' numbers and have won a couple games there against them, so that's something to watch out for. And I think the Clippers are just ultimately the better team right now. That's what it boils down to, is the Clippers are the better team. And I'm going to take the Clippers to advance. I'm going to take the Clippers to be the 8 seed and end up, playing the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think they can knock the Blazers off. They got to win these 2 tough games. It's going to be tough for that Blazers team to lose 2 in a row, honestly. But the Clips got to win 2 in a row, and I think they get it done and ultimately become that 8 seed. I mean, if there's an 8 seed that's going to give the Thunder any trouble, it is the Clippers. The Clippers roster is built really nicely to compete with the Thunder, because they do a lot of sets and schemes through Kawhi Leonard. And Kawhi Leonard will still get his against any team. OKC is not going to be able to slow him down as much as they can slow down some of these other superstars out there because of the way Kawhi plays and operates in the mid-range. And I think the Clippers, they do a lot of drive and kick as well. They have guys on the perimeter that can hit the open shot. And I think that'll get the Thunder some trouble. An all-around team effort to move them into the 8 seed. But let's just start Let's see. All right, let's pivot over to the Eastern Conference play-in now. So we got the Hornets versus the Heat, which is a good first-round matchup, or play-in matchup, I should say. Lose, go home there. You don't want to, it's a winner go home game, and it's a really good matchup. Charlotte has been one of the hottest teams in the league over the second half of the season. They started 11-23. That's kind of similar to what the Clippers did. And you thought maybe this was just a lost season for the Hornets. They were just going to play for that lottery, try to get in the lottery of this amazing draft class that we're about to see. But they went 32-10 after that. And that's not a fluke, if you ask me. That's a team that's figured itself out. Their offense has been one of the best in the league since January by offensive rating. And their defense has really stepped up as well. I love the way that the Hornets play, and I think they'll pose a big fit here for Miami. Miami, they have the play-in experience, right? This is their fourth straight play-in appearance. And Coach Spoelstra called this like an opportunity. I mean, that feels like such a Spoelstra thing to say, right? Miami has led the NBA in scoring this season. I think only Denver might have outscored them, if I'm not mistaken. But this is two high-octane offenses ready to go. In a win-or-go-home pick, I think it comes down to the defense. And I just trust Charlotte more right now. They've been the better team. And their second half run just seems almost unreal. I just trust Charlotte's defense a little bit more in this one. And I think that they pose a better threat in the playoffs at this point because of how good they've been down the line. So give me Charlotte to advance to the next game and Miami Heat to go home. Next up, we have Orlando Magic as the 8 seed versus the 7 seed 76ers. This is a little bit of a tough one because is Joel Embiid going to play? What does that look like? You never know with them. But I think the Orlando Magic have just been so underwhelming all season long. Like, for me, the Sixers weren't supposed to have these expectations to get where they've been all season. They had high expectations last year. Coming into this year, they didn't really have any. But they're still in this spot, and a good spot to win this game and move on to the 7 seeds. This is going to be a really close matchup. I think that Orlando has what it takes. I think their defense is good, and they have the size to get it done. I just think the 76ers take this one in a very, very close matchup and move on to play Boston in the first round. So that leaves us Orlando versus the Hornets, and this is another tough matchup because what do you do here with these 8 and 9 seeds? I'm going to take the upset if we're looking at seeding, and I'm going to say the Hornets win, man. I just think the Hornets, although they started off really bad and poorly like we talked about, I think the Hornets will get this done. They're going to come to play. It's a young team that's excited. They, kind of similar to Philly, had no expectations for this season and have gotten to this point, while Orlando had top 3 expectations. They were supposed to be up here in the East, top 3, top 4 seed pretty convincingly, especially after they went all in on Desmond Bane. And they just have been underwhelming all season. Injuries or not injury riddled, it's just not been good from Orlando. So I do think that they go home. I don't think they're a team that deserves to be in the playoffs, and I think the Hornets knocked them out here in this game. The Magic lose 2 straight and go home, and we see the Pistons versus the Hornets in round 1. So that brings us to a complete bracket. As our play-in teams, we have the Suns and Clippers making it out west, and we have the Magic and the Sixers and the Hornets making it out east. That leads us to some great first-round matchups all the way around. We'll go ahead and start and get the 1 seed matchups out of the way. When it comes to the OKC versus the hypothetical of the Clippers here, let's just say this, right? The Thunder are the best team in basketball. They finished 64-18, the best record in the entire league. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is the best player on the planet, and there's no questions about whether he's going to perform in the playoffs or not. We saw him do it and win Finals MVP last year as the best player on this Thunder team. Jalen Williams, no questions to ask if he's going to step up in the playoffs. The only question you might have about Jalen Williams as a co-star is what his season has looked like so far this year. But I don't think that hurts this Thunder team. Jalen Williams has been as bad as he's going to get at times, and he's had time now to recuperate and show up. This is a time where Jalen Williams reasserts himself as a top player in this league, and I think that's exactly what he does as a co-star next to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as the season progresses or the postseason progresses. And then anyone that has to deal with Chet Holmgren, it's a matchup nightmare for him. So very, very excited to see what this Thunder team does. Obviously, as a Thunder fan, I should be. But opened the season as I think it was 24-1, finished as 19-3, injury riddled all season long, and they didn't just start hot; they sustained it even with those injuries. Defense is elite, top 5 in both offense and defense. Just true championship DNA. And although I think the Clippers can pose a little bit of matchup problems for them, I don't see them getting it done. I like OKC to win this series in 4. I think they get the sweep, and maybe 5 at the most. And OKC needs to take this series seriously, because if they drop some of these games, moving into a bloodbath that they're going to have to see is not going to be ideal for them. They want to get the Clippers gone, or whoever they may face in that 8 seed. They want to get them gone and get them going quick, so they have time to recuperate and move into, potential series versus the Lakers or the Rockets. Next up, we will pivot over to the Detroit Pistons versus as another 1 seed. Or should we just do straight Western Conference? No, we'll go Pistons first. The Pistons went 60-22, their first 60-win season since 2005. And honestly, they're built differently. This isn't a fluke to me. I think their defensive identity and prowess is just too much for a lot of these teams in the East. And any team that they face here, I guess hypothetically it would be the Hornets. The Hornets and the Pistons, they have some beef. It'll be fun to see that. Musa Diabate, Jalen Duran, we saw the fight. We just saw them play a couple days ago, and it was a 20-point blowout, but there was no shortage of shit talking, no shortage of you can't guard me, no shortage of I'm him. Like, it was real hoops, and it wasn't even the playoffs yet. So if this matchup happens, I'm really, really excited for it. But I do think that the defensive prowess of Detroit is just too much. They have an elite defensive identity. And they also have Cade Cunningham, who is the engine offensively, averaging over 20 or close to 25 a night. And he looks like the number 1 pick that he was drafted to be a few years back. So I guess if you have any question marks about this Pistons team, it would just be that it's Detroit, right? They haven't won a playoff series in close to 20 years. Like, I was barely born when this team won a playoff team. And it's not a knock on this team specifically. It's just an honest acknowledgement of their playoff success and experience, and that matters because they don't have it. But to me, they've been the best team out East all season, and I don't see that changing in this, especially in the first round of the playoffs. As it gets deeper, who knows, that experience might creep into play. But I do think the Pistons ultimately get them out of here in 5 games if they do end up playing the Hornets, or really anybody. I could see them getting anybody out of here in these. I mean, the Hornets might be the toughest matchup for them, and I still think they'll get them out of here in 5 games. Well, let's go to the 2 seed versus 7 seed. We'll stick in the East for this one, and then we'll go back out West for their 2-7. Now it's Boston versus Philly. This is another beautiful series. Has some rich history behind it, right? It feels like playoff basketball. When you say those 2 teams, you don't necessarily expect them to clash this early. It's usually later in the postseason that you would see these teams. I think it's awesome to see the Celtics here. They weren't supposed to be here. They lost Jason Tatum all season until the latter half of it, right? Drew Holiday gone. Porzingis gone. Al Horford gone. It looked like a year that they were going to have to rebuild. Instead, they're the second best team in the East. 56-26. And Tatum is back less than 10 months after tearing his Achilles. And he's put up triple-doubles. He's put up 20-point games. He won Conference Player of the Week. I'm pretty sure he pulled that off. The real question is, what Tatum are you going to get? Are you going to get the one that he can be pre-injury, where he's a top 3 player in the world, top 5 player in the world, or is he still figuring out his form? They are the favorite out East. If you look at the odds, the betting odds have them near plus money, like plus 145. To get it there. And I like the Celtics because they fixed a big need at the deadline, and not even a need, but Vucevic is someone that they brought in, and their big man rotation was a question mark at one point in the season, but I like it now with Cade, Vucevic, and Garza, who can get out there and give you scrappy couple minutes here and there. It's hard to see what they'll contribute deep in the postseason, but I think it's a pretty easy pick here. It depends on who they get. If they get Embiid, like I'm projecting here, I think they might give them some trouble. No knock on the Celtics here, but they struggle with guards. They don't have a great defensive big. I think if they draw Philly, it ultimately ends up in a 6-game series going to Boston. And then let's pivot back over to the West here. We'll go to the 2 seed where we have San Antonio versus the Suns. And honestly, the Spurs are one of the best stories of the season, right? They finished the season 62-20. 62 wins is huge for this team. considering they didn't make the playoffs last year. Victor Wembanyama had close to 20 games this year, I think, where he had 25 and 4. I don't think anyone's ever done more than that in NBA history in a single season. And then late in the season, we saw what he can really tap into. He's multiple 40-point, 15 rebound games. He's just not human, right? And he's the engine to this whole team, offensively, defensively. Everything runs through Wemby, and rightfully so, because he is really, really good at basketball and going to translate to playoffs like none other. And as a young player in this league, you should worry about experience, but Wemby is proven to be so mature and proven to be such a leader to this team that I'm not worried about him at all come playoff time. And then you mix in all-star point guard De'Aaron Fox, all-star, future all-star in the league, rookie of the year last year, Stephon Castle, who's a future star and ready to go right now. Devin Vassell, Keldon Johnson, sixth man of the year candidate. Just complimentary players everywhere. Champagny can strike it. Mitch Johnson, great coach, in the running for coach of the year. I mean, this whole thing is really, honestly insane from the San Antonio Spurs. And on top of that, they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder 4 out of 5 games this time. 4 out of 5. So if they end up meeting in the Western Conference Finals, that's going to be must-watch television. Has potential to be one of the craziest series we've seen in a long time. If you had a question mark about it right now, it'd be Wemby. Is he going to hold up, right? He bruised his rib, I believe his injury was, late into the season and was hesitant to play. He did it for his awards, blah, 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 you know, whatever it may be. And I like the Suns here. I don't want to write the Suns off very easily. I think that the Suns can pose a tough matchup. I like Booker a lot. He's got playoff experience. He's been to the finals. He knows what it takes to get it done. I like Dillon Brooks. He's a villain, and he's going to play that hard nose. I don't care if you're Wembanyama. I don't care if you're Steph Curry. Like, he's coming to play and defend you. They have guys around him that can put the ball in the hoop. I just think their bigs are a little bit of a question mark. Now, do they guard him with Dillon Brooks? Do they let Dillon Brooks guard Wemby? I don't know. It's just going to be tough to see, and I don't know how it'll shake out. I like the physicality of Phoenix as well, but I think they're not ready. Whoever the 7th seed is, if it is end up Phoenix like I predicted, they're just simply not ready. I think, honestly, the Spurs make quick work of them. Get them out of there in 5. Staying out west, we'll go to the 3 seed versus 6 seed, and this is one of my personal favorites. I think this might be my favorite first-round series, especially in the West. And this half of the West, where we got the Spurs, Nuggets, Timberwolves, and whoever that 7 seed is just a bloodbath because they got to play each other before they even get to the Western Conference Finals. This bottom tier, right, if we're just looking at the photo of it, is absolutely insane in the Western Conference. So, Nikola Jokic, let's talk a little bit about him, right? He just became the first player in NBA history to lead the league in rebounds and assists per game in the same season. And this Nuggets team is firing on all cylinders. If there's a time to get hot, it's right now. They just won 12 in a row, and that's the longest streak coming into playoffs by anyone in the whole entire league. So to enter the playoffs running hot, we've seen that in the past where that translates, and it's not something to overlook. This team has won the most games in a row coming into the playoffs, and it poses scary matchup for the Timberwolves. I made a whole video about the Timberwolves and how I think they are going to be a very good team and a team to watch out for in the playoffs. I think they got an unlucky draw here with the Denver Nuggets. If they drew the Lakers, if they drew the Rockets, I think they win it. Now, Denver, it makes it tough. And this is going to be a really, really good series. Home court advantage is going to be huge in this series, which obviously the Nuggets have. They've got all their rotational players. I don't know. This one's going to be a dogfight, dog. This one's going to 7 for sure. I got this one going to 7. So led by Anthony Edwards, who hasn't been healthy to end the season. It's going to be tough to see. I think the Nuggets control this series, but the Timberwolves make it uncomfortable for them. Push up to 7 with that home court advantage. I just think it's going to be too much, especially with that Denver altitude. I like the Nuggets in 7. I think they're just too good. It goes the distance. Just ultimately leans the Nuggets' way. Like I said, I think they'll be in control and be able to take this series. Let's switch over to another great series. If we're going to the 3 and 6 seed out east, another eye-catching series, something that we should definitely look out for. I don't know, man. I don't know how I feel about the New York Knicks coming into playoffs, right? They went to the conference finals last year with the similar starting 5. I think the same exact starting 5, I should say. Jalen Brunson's pretty legit. We've seen him in clutch time. We've seen him in the playoffs. And I feel like he has a confidence that you can't fake. You can't manufacture it. You can't make it up, right? Jalen Brunson is like that. I have harped on Jalen Brunson in the past about him not being able to get it done, but I can't take anything away from him coming into the playoffs. Now, Atlanta, usually a play-in team, right? This is their first playoff berth in 4 years. You know, it's tough to see. They have a good squad, and they ended the season very, very well. They turned it around, and they weren't supposed to be here. They were supposed to be a play-in team again, if that. At some point in the season, they were just as mid as it gets, and then out of nowhere, boom, they took off. And they took off at the right time. I do think that the Knicks are coming in a little underrated. People are not giving the Knicks as much credit as they deserve, especially in the Eastern Conference. It almost feels like the Knicks are being written off. But I do think that the Hawks make this one dirty for them. It's a tough one. You know, I feel bad for both these teams, right? I feel like the Hawks, as the 5 seed, they would have got Cleveland. And then the Knicks would have had an easier matchup with Toronto. I feel like that would make sense. But, you know, I feel like now the Knicks got the best team that they could have gotten in Atlanta. This is going to be another great series. I don't see this one going to 7. Honestly, I think the Knicks take it in 6 and move to the next round just because of they're the better team. I mean, I feel like they're been written off this season. They don't have many expectations, and maybe that frees them up a little bit to make a finals run. Who knows? I like the Knicks for sure in this series, and I think they take it in 6. We'll stay out east for the 4 and 5 matchup. These are two. We got two matchups left. 4 and 5 out west, 4 and 5 out east. We'll stay in the east, like I said. And this is an underrated series in the East. James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, they've formed a pretty legit superstar backcourt in Cleveland, and they know how to win. 52 games on the season. It's been pretty fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie. Now, Toronto made the playoffs for the first time in a few years, and they deserve credit for getting here too, right? But I just feel like this is a tough one, man. I really like the Raptors defense. I like the Raptors defense coming into this game. And I don't like the Cavs defense coming into this game. But I also don't like the Raptors offense. But I like the Cavs offense. It's a tough one, right? I don't really know. I feel like it feels like such an even matchup. And that's why it's the 4 to 5 matchup. Honestly, though, I'm going to take the underdog here. I'm going to take the Raptors. And it's not going to be a popular opinion. A lot of people have bought into the Cavaliers since that, the fact that they got James Harden at the deadline and they made moves and started to win more games and Jared Allen started balling. Everything looks really, really good for the Cavaliers. But I am going to go ahead and take Toronto Raptors in this series as an upset because of their defensive upside. And I think they have what it takes to contend on the offensive side, versus Cleveland's defense. So go ahead and give me Toronto here. I think it'll be a close series. I don't think Toronto will win in 5 or 6 games. I think it will go the whole way. And Toronto picks up a nasty, low-scoring win in Game 7 in Cleveland. I could see that being the outcome of this series pretty easily. And that's what I'm going to take and say that the Raptors do. They pull off the upset here and knock out the Cavs. In this sense, the Cavs into full rebuild mode. Like, what do? They just got James Harden. They thought they were going to make a run at a title. They tried their hardest, and they still suck and still lost in the first round. What does Cleveland do? I think we see them press the panic button, honestly. But that's all way past this and where we're at today and in the playoff environment. So next up, another super fun one, right? Just off first glance, this is LeBron James versus Kevin Durant in a full series of basketball. Both men are healthy. And this feels like the series that everyone's talking about, right? And if you're a Lakers fan, it's not really for good reason. Obviously, we saw in that game against the Thunder, the Lakers lost both Luka and AR, and no one has a timetable for him. Luka flew to Spain, gets his injection treatments, and shots in his hamstring, and whatever Spain got that we don't, I'm not too sure on. But I think Luka got to spend some time with his kids, which is cool. Reaves, he's out. I think he hurt his oblique, which is just a muscle injuries, right? Hard to come back from quickly, so it's tough. And I don't think either one of them play the first round. I really don't. I don't think either one of them play a single game in the first round. They can try. They might suit up and play very, very limited minutes, but I don't think so. So if you're LA, you're asking 41-year-old LeBron James to carry this team. And I don't want to take anything away from Bron. He's been incredible. He's still putting up historic numbers. We just seen him almost get a triple-double the other night. But this Lakers roster is not built to succeed without Luka and Austin Reaves. And that just is what it is. Unfortunately for Bron, I think we might get some performances out of Bron that are like, wow, like this is why he's the best player of all time. But Bron is the primary scorer. Bron is the primary playmaker. Bron is the primary defender, the primary rebounder. Bron is literally everything without these other guys on the court. And I don't think that's enough to get it done. Houston has Kevin Durant. Obviously, just got him this year. It's his first year with Houston, and he's been on a tear. Honestly, Houston is on a pretty nice winning streak, or winning patch, we can call it. They've won 10 out of 11 coming in, which is huge. And this is the first ever postseason matchup between two players with 75,000 combined points career wise between LeBron and KD. If you look at the betting odds, the Lakers are heavy underdogs. They're like plus 600 to win this thing, and it makes sense without their two main guys, right? Two of their three main guys. If the Lakers somehow survive long enough for Luka to return, he can maybe make it interesting, and I think it gets interesting quick at that point. But it seems almost like a wild card scenario. I guess they said on Thursday he might be back, or not Thursday. They're going to be reevaluated by the Lakers again on Thursday. I think that's trying to give them hope, and I just don't think it's going to work out in the Lakers' way. And honestly, this Lakers team hasn't been good all year. They've been banged up. They had some things going on that is hard to overcome. Rarely had their main three guys on the court at once, and when they did, they looked really good. I just don't trust in their defense. I don't trust in their transition defense. I don't trust their half-court offense. It's just tough to say that the Lakers are going to win this series when the Rockets have looked good to close out the season. So go ahead and give me the Rockets. I think it's interesting. I think Bron tries his best. I honestly think the Rockets might get him out of here in 5, even with the vintage game or two from LeBron. I just don't see a unhealthy, like, this is the best draw for the Rockets. If you're the Rockets, you don't want to play Minnesota or the Timberwolves. Now, the Lakers do have home court advantage, which gives them an upper hand in this, right? It's tough, man. It's tough. I'm still going to rock with it, though. I'm going to say Rockets in 6. Rockets in 6 is going to be my final prediction there. So, just to run through them again real quick, we got Thunder in 4. We got Pistons in 5. We got Rockets in 5, or 6, excuse me, Rockets in 6. Raptors in 7. Nuggets in 7. Knicks in 6. Spurs in 5. Celtics in 5. No, Celtics in 6. Excuse me. That was my prediction. And I think those are the guys that move on to the next round, right? So that's our full breakdown. The play-in starts Tuesday, which is tomorrow, or actually today. Excuse me. I'm going to drop this video on Tuesday. I'm recording it after midnight, so it's technically Tuesday right now. But I'm going to drop it Tuesday, probably afternoon, when you guys will be seeing this. So first round kicks off on Saturday, April 18th. So we got about a week or so of the play-in games. And it's going to be a wild ride, man. I'm super excited for the playoffs. We got beautiful first-round matches everywhere. If you think I made the wrong decision on one of these teams or left anything out, let me know down in the comments, man. Drop your picks. Who you got winning round 1? Who's the biggest upset that you may have picked? And if you found this fun or helpful or whatever it may be, make sure to hit that subscribe button. Keep tapping in with us because we're going to do more and more as the playoffs roll along. So appreciate you guys. See y'all in the next one.